valuation rules. Um, Welcome to today's session. Valuation rules under GST. One of the important rule, starting with rule number 27, ending with, starting with rule number 28. Oh, no, 27, ending with rule number 35. So somewhere starting with rule number 27 and ending with rule number 35. These are the rules which discuss about valuation. In fact, you can split the valuation rules. You can split the complete valuation rules into broadly two categories. As far as the valuation rules are concerned, every valuation rule can be split into two categories. 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. First five rules. 27 to 31 is part one of valuation rules or part one discussion of valuation rules. 32, 33, 34, 35. These four rules is part two discussions of valuation rules. This part one of valuation rules has something to share to us, something to discuss with us, which in fact take a little more time for understanding. Small points need to be understood. In part two, also we have again two important rules. Rule 32 and 33 are more important. 34, 35 are little easy and elementary rule, but 32, 33 are little lengthier rule. We'll try and see that we complete all these rules in today's discussion. As far as valuation rules is concerned, section 15, subsection 4 gives powers to central government that whenever conditions mentioned under section 15 is not satisfied by a person, a supplier fails to satisfy the conditions that are mentioned under section 15, then that supplier somehow need to determine value. That supplier will be able to determine value through the help of valuation rules. How, sir? Section 15, subsection 4 comes out and says, if value cannot be determined as per erstwhile provisions 15.1, then the value will be determined as per rules made under for this purpose. What are the rules made under for this purpose? 28, 29, 30, 31. Of course, 27 is also part of it. 27 to 31. Yes, those are the rules that are made under this section 15.4, and those rules will help in determining value. I'm sure, just to recollect, not to repeat the topic, just to recollect, two conditions was there in section 15. Both conditions are very simple condition. If buyer and seller, if supplier and recipient, if both of them are related, then transaction value is not accepted. In case price is not the sole consideration, that is, they have received other than money something else, then transaction value will not be accepted. In those circumstances, how to determine value? Valuation rules helps in determining value. To start with, first rule on valuation, rule 27. Rule 27 of valuation rule, when it will be applicable? When, apart from money, if the supplier receives any other consideration. Recollect our yesterday's example. In our yesterday's example, we have discussed that in case of a person, in case a supplier, in case of a person who is going to be involved in supply of goods, that person is going to pay a consideration. In our earlier example, on yesterday's example, A Limited was a supplier of a machine. B Limited was a genuine customer. C Limited was also a genuine customer. D Limited was a related customer. E, A, B, C, D, E Limited was a customer who told 50% of the material I will supply and I will also pay you money. When the entire consideration 5 lakhs is not settled through money, is not settled through, look at that presentation, you will be able to capture it wholly in money. If the consideration is not paid wholly in money, then transaction value under section 15 will not be accepted. 15.1, it will not be accepted. So rule 27 comes out with a solution. If apart from money, if I get something else, sir, can you give me a better example? Yes, very sure. Assume a client or assume a person is going to sell his old car and buy a new car. So once all the events are over, once the economy is revived back, he walks into a dealership showroom and gives his old car and he is interested in purchasing a new car. The new car that he is interested to purchase is, let's say, 10 lakh rupees. The old car that he has is worth 3 lakh rupees. So what he does is he gives his old car, also gives a check for rupees 7 lakhs. The dealer, car dealer, accepts that old car and also accepts a check for rupees 7 lakhs and deliver a new car for 10 lakhs. Now, is 7 lakh rupees money paid is a sole consideration for the supply? Answer is no. 7 lakh rupees plus car when consideration is not paid wholly in money. When consideration is not paid wholly in money, then the point that need to be noted down over here, once consideration is not paid wholly in money, then value under section 15.1 cannot be determined. Then come back to your rule 27. Rule 27 says whenever consideration is not paid wholly in money, value will be generally open market value. So if I violate that condition, if I don't satisfy the condition, how I can determine value? The law says value of supply will be open market value. See, this car was sold on an exchange. That company, like that car, they would have sold some other car. Let's take little specific example so that it will be little easy for us. It is Maruti Suzuki Limited and it's Cars India, Maruti Suzuki Limited showroom, Cars India. Cars India has sold already a Maruti Swift top end version. This buyer also bought a Maruti Swift, but he has given his old car WagonR plus a 7 lakh rupee check. Now the question before us is, this fellow, they have sold 7 lakhs plus WagonR to somebody else. They would have collected the entire money. Look at my wording. To somebody else, the Cars India would have sold the same car, Swift, to somebody else and collected the entire consideration in money. That value will be accepted as open market value. So any transaction that was accepted under section 15.1 of a same goods, let me repeat, of a same goods would be treated as open market value. Of course, I will not have this car value. I will go and refer a similar car like this was sold for 10 lakh 25,000. Then the value of this car is 10 lakh 25,000. So majority of the cases, whenever I receive money plus something in kind, let me repeat, money plus something in kind, my value of supply will be open market value of similar product. I exchange a old mobile against a new mobile. Old mobile was costing me 3,000 rupees. Was taken for 3,000 rupees, and a new mobile was given for me after paying 17,000 rupees. A genuine question will be asked here, or a genuine doubt will come. What is the value of supply? Section 15.1 conditions are not satisfied because that respective the respective mobile phone seller retailer has collected 17,000 rupees plus 3,000 worth of mobile phone. However, A point to be noted is, like this mobile phone, they would have sold to some other person, same mobile phone, MI K20 256 GB. They have sold to some other person for 22,000, collected from that person complete money in 22,000. The supplier and that person is not related person. That transaction, like on this product, like this, if another transaction is done, then that value is considered as open market value. Pick that number and put it here. That will be open market value. Mark my word, 80% or 85% of the transaction will get it answer at this limit itself. Here you have a challenge. Sir, my first sale of product is this only, and that transaction itself is done not for wholly in money. That is to say, yesterday only all stock came. Today only I am selling first this product. First product itself sold to you only, sir, where you gave me a mobile phone worth 3,000 and 17,000 in cash. So will you have open market value? Answer is no, open market value is not available. Look at the second point over here. Let me repeat it. Look at the second point over here. My point that I want to, one minute. The point that I want to drive home here is, yes, look at this point here, a very most important point. If open market value is not available, if open market value is not available, then only you can use this second subclause. You can use the second subclause when open market value is not available. If open market value is available, you have to use open market value only. If open market value is not available for various reasons that are known to you, whatever the reasons, I am not stepping in here. For any reasons best known to you, because it is a first transaction, because this was a new transaction, like this it was not done, whatever be it. If open market value not available, then how to determine value of supply? It will be aggregate value of sum total of aggregate value of money received 17,000 plus monetary value of non-monetary consideration. That mobile phone is worth 3,000, we told. Some monetary value is there? Yes. So 17,000 plus 3,000, then 20,000 will be value of supply. 7 lakhs cash paid, money paid, that 7 lakhs money plus car worth rupees 3 lakhs is given. So 7 lakhs plus 3 lakhs will be value of supply. When you can use that aggregate of money value plus money paid, money value of non-monetary consideration plus money paid, when you can make, if open market value is not available, mark my word, the second limb will satisfy 90% of the cases. Maybe exceptionally you will not have open market value, but nowhere you can say you don't know what is the value of your non-monetary consideration. Exceptionally, only hypothetical examples I say, like this maybe in an academic exam is possible, but in a practical life it is not at all possible. Someone says the monetary value of my non-monetary consideration cannot be determined. I have a mobile phone in my hand, but that value cannot be determined. I have a laptop in my hand, that value cannot be determined. I have a pen pencil in my hand, that value cannot be determined. If someone says that monetary value of non-monetary consideration is not possible, that is to say, value of supply cannot be determined by monetary, money received plus non-monetary consideration, aggregate sum of money received plus non-monetary consideration, then only you will use the third item, which will be value of supply will be like, kind, and quality of goods. Value of supply of the goods or services will be like, kind, and quality of goods. Like, kind, let me repeat, not same goods, similar goods. when open market value, when we were discussing about same goods. Same goods means Maruti Swift means Maruti Swift. Now we are in like kind and quality, we are not discussing about Maruti Swift. We are talking about if this phone is there, like this another phone. Maybe brand might be different, this might be different, that but both are mutually exchangeable. Say a particular version of Oppo and a particular version of Vivo, a particular version of what is a Redmi, a particular version of OnePlus. These two are like kind and quality. They are commercially interchangeable. These goods are commercially interchangeable. If in case you have a value of those goods, then that value will be accepted as value. Sir, I don't have similar goods also, I don't have same goods also, I cannot determine value of consideration. Then don't be bothered. If all the above condition fails, value will be determined as per rule 30 based on some costing principles, and rule 31 based on a residual method. What is rule 30, what is rule 31? When we get into the respective rule, we will take it up. Let me repeat it. This sums up your rule 27. Take or accept this discussion in nutshell. When rule 27 will be used, a supplier supply the services, receives a consideration partly in kind, partly in money, or fully in kind, or 80-90% in money, 10% in kind, or 10% money, 80-90% in kind. Any combinations thereof. End of the day, not wholly in money. Sir, if you receive everything wholly in money, sir, then you satisfied section 15(1) condition. You should not use this rule at all. If he is receiving his consideration not wholly in money, then law says, first condition it says, like this goods, like this services, you provided to somebody for fully in money. Yes, sir, I provided to that person. That value will be the value of this goods. There you collected 25,000, then here also 25,000. There you collected 15,000. There we are referring, no, what is that there? Open market value. Open market value means value of similar goods. Similar goods sold. Similar goods sold. Similar services provided at or about the same time. Almost at that same time. Almost at that time that goods or services provided, that value will be accepted as value. Similar goods which are sold to a person other than relative, and where the entire consideration is received in money. Don't be much bothered about it. On the last slide, on the last page or the last slide, you have a definition for open market value. Stay with me, understand what I say. That should be sufficient for you to understand this term called as open market value. So this open market value is concerned, only one request. Like this, have I sold the goods to a third party? Yes, sir, you have sold. Like this goods, have I received the entire consideration in money? Yes, sir, you received. That would be accepted as open market value. If open market value is not available, then value of money received plus your monetary value of non-monetary consideration. If I receive a old printer, I will have a money's worth. If I receive a old mobile phone, I will have a money's worth for it. If I receive a old laptop, I will have a money's worth for it. Come on, understand, everything in India, you have a money's worth for it. The monetary value of a non-monetary consideration. Let me repeat it. The monetary value of a non-monetary consideration would be your value. So the sum total of money received plus monetary value of non-monetary consideration, that would give you your value of supply. Money received can be easily identified, but however, money received can always be easily identified, but where the whole technicality comes into play is Money received can always be identified. There will not be any difficulty at all in money received. But the challenge that one may face in determining the value is money value of a monetary consideration. So because there will be difficulty, government told, yes, if in case you find it is difficult for you, then don't be bothered about it. Value will be value of like, kind, and quality. See, like, kind, and quality. Like, kind, and quality means Apple and Samsung are compatible brands, mobile phone brands. Of course, today they are not compatible brands, but they on a particular day it was a compatible brand. Vivo and Oppo are compatible brand, like kind of quality. Okay, HP laptop or Dell laptop are like kind of quality. So here also a particular feature is there. There also a particular feature is there. That is how you will speak like, kind, and quality. What is the value of like, kind, and quality? That value will be this value. Assuming even that is not available, very tough situation. Assuming that that also not available, value will be determined as per rule 30 and 31. This sums up your rule 27. Any doubts, anything? Yes, I would take it up. Else we can move forward to comfortably rule 28. Coming back here. Yeah. As far as rule 28 is concerned, rule 28 comes out and says, whenever goods are sold to related person or distinct person, understand one of the conditions, let me repeat, one of the conditions for your valuation or one of the conditions of valuation is supplier and recipient. Let me repeat, supplier and recipient should not be related. One of the conditions is supplier and recipient should not be related. However, there was a particular challenge that businesses have. Sometimes they have to interact only with related parties. Don't ask me why and all. Businesses run in that model only. Business runs on a model that holding company will sell goods to subsidiary company. Subsidiary company will sell goods to another related company. After that only, from that related company, it comes to the public. So, point one of our discussion. Rule 28 comes out and says, whenever goods are sold to related person, whenever goods are sold to distinct person, that is head office, branch, from head office goods are supplied to branch, from branch office 1 to branch office 2 located in different location. So all these are all transactions that happens among related person or distinct person. How to determine value? The first option was value of supply will be open market value. At what price you sell in head office, same price you transfer to what? Related person. So value of supply will be open market value. Recollect your example. In our example, B, C was something to do with, in our yesterday's example, B and C was something to do with their purchase of goods. D was a person who is a related person with a manufacturer. He purchased the goods for 5 lakhs. Now, whether transaction value will be accepted. All of us told transaction value will not be accepted. Why? A limited and D limited are related person. Correct. A limited and D limited are related person. Section 15(1) conditions. Value cannot be determined. Now what I can do? I can determine now value using valuation rules. Valuation rule, rule 28 say, if the goods are sold at open market value. Yes, it was sold for a third party B limited. For a third party B limited, the machine was sold for 5 lakhs. Same way, related party D limited, machine was sold at 5 lakhs. When your value of supply is going to be open market value, transaction value will be, or whatever price you charge will be accepted. Followed by, if open market value is not available, then value of like, kind, and quality. Let me repeat it. Concentrate on this point. If value of supply, that is open market value, is not available, if value of supply cannot be determined, then the open market value will be the value of like, kind, and quality. Like my product, has someone has sold the product. Like my services, as someone has provided the services. What price they charged, that would be the value of supply. Sir, like me, nobody manufactured goods. I only manufacture goods. Then that will also fail. What will also fail? Like, kind, and quality also will fail. So the value will be determined as per rule 30 and 31. Let me repeat, a very careful entry. Of course, we have two more provisos to discuss. Before that, generally, when it will be applicable? It will be applicable in all cases of related person, all cases of distinct person, but other than agent. Why, sir, other than agent? Very simple. Next rule, rule 29, exclusively talk about agent. I'm sure you all will agree, agent is also a related person. So if you go back and refer your related person definition, agent is also a related person. In a background like this, when goods are sold between distinct person or related person, all those goods are sold between distinct person or related person. One minute. If goods are sold between, distinct person or related person, law simply comes out and says that, specifically it says the value will be determined as per rule 28. Rule 28 says, like like how you sell goods to related person, have you sold the goods to unrelated person? Yes, sir, I sold the goods to unrelated person. Have you received the entire money in consideration in money? Yes, sir, I received. Good. That is treated as open market value. I will pay. Related person also, machine is sold for 5 lakhs. Unrelated person also, machine is sold for 5 lakhs. Transaction value accepted. Matter ends there. Rule closes. Now, problem is, A Limited sell goods to D Limited. A Limited sell only to D Limited. Then you will not have an open market value at all. When A Limited sells to B Limited and D Limited, then B Limited is unregistered person, unrelated person. D Limited is related person. You can use the help of B Limited with the help of D Limited. Now, when a company, A Limited, deals only with related person, you will not determine open market value at all. When open market value cannot be determined, you will search, as a businessman, you will search, like me, anybody else selling a product of mine, like my product. Yes, he is selling. What price he sells, that will be my value of supply. Value of supply of goods or services or both of like, kind, and quality will be value of supply when goods are sold to related person or distinct person other than agent. Followed by, sir, even like kind of quantity of goods is not there, because like our goods, nobody manufacture goods. Like our services, nobody provides services. Then don't be bothered about it. Value will be determined based on costing principles, or finally value will be determined based on the officer. So point that I want to drive home is rule 28 specifically discuss about the transactions like this. Followed by two proviso. When the goods are intended for further supply as such by the recipient. See, sometimes what will happen is, supplier will supply the goods to the recipient. Recipient may be related person. Then the recipient who is going to buy the goods is going to buy the goods and not further process it. He buys the goods and sells the goods, buys the goods and sells the goods. Then further supply as such by the recipient. When the goods are going to be intended for further supply as such, further supply as such means he is not going to process the goods. He is going to sell the goods as such. Then at the option of the supplier, the value will be equivalent to 90% of price charged of like, kind, and quality of goods by the recipient to his customer, not being a related person. See, very, very carefully worded entry. To apply this proviso itself, what and all should be there? First of all, your recipient should buy the goods from you and sell the goods as such. They bought 10 kg cotton from you, they sell 10 kg cotton. They bought 10 TVs from you, they sell 10 TV. They bought 100 laptops from you, they'll sell 100 laptops. In case where the goods are intended for a further supply, as such, and the as such என்ற வார்த்தை ரொம்ப important. Further supply as such by the recipient. When goods are intended for further supply as such by the recipient, இங்க as such by the recipient இருக்கணும். The brand should not buy the goods, further process it. Brand should not buy the goods, further pack it. Brand just buys and sells, further supply as such. Then value will be at the option of supplier. Look at that wording. At the option of supplier, be equal to 80% of, 90% of like, kind, and quality. If they are supplying printers, like their printer, somebody is selling printer for 10,000 rupees, then 10,000 rupees to customer who somebody else, like printer. Here, this is also printer, that is also printer. Like this LaserJet printer, but a different brand, somebody is selling for 10,000. Then that 10,000 into 90% will be the value at here. Government allows this as an option, followed by recipient is eligible for full input tax credit. Let me repeat. Recipient is eligible for full input tax credit when the recipient is eligible for full input tax credit, whatever amount mentioned in the value of supply will be accepted as open market value. A very, very interesting proviso. I like this proviso very much. If the recipient is eligible for full ITC, that is to say, supplier will charge, holding company will charge GST, subsidiary company is eligible for GST credit, input tax credit. That is, when they purchase the goods, on the purchase, they are eligible to claim input tax credit. 100 rupees bill comes plus 18 rupees tax. That 18 rupees tax, they can take credit. That is called as input tax credit. When the recipient is eligible for full input tax credit, bill comes for 1,000 rupees with 120 rupees GST. Then on that 120 rupees, I can take credit. What I will do is, I have already taken 120 rupees credit and 18 rupees credit. Total, I have 138 rupees credit. I have to pay some 200 rupees to government. When I'm going to pay 200 rupees as GST to government, I will not pay 200 rupees to government. On 200, I will reduce this 120 and 18. I'll pay only the balance. When I take the credit, if I'm eligible to take full ITC, whatever money mentioned in the invoice will be treated as open market value. Let me repeat. So, sir, I am a supplier. I supply goods to my own recipient. My recipient is eligible for full ITC, sir. Whatever GST I put, he will be eligible to take credit. Then you raise an invoice for whatever price, all will be accepted as transaction value. There are no distinctions, there are no challenges at all associated with it. Sorry, 1 minute. There are no discussions and there are no questions that are asked here at all. Whatever be the price, everything will be accepted as transaction value. If the recipient is eligible for full ITC, whatever charged by the supplier, recipient is eligible to take credit. Then the amount mentioned in the invoice will be accepted as value of supply. This sums up your rule 28, most important rule. 90% of the cases you will have open market value. Wherever you don't have open market value, you will use the services of like kind and similar quantity of goods. Also understand, sometimes what happens is goods or services is supplied from head office to branch office 1 to branch office 2, branch office 4 to branch office 8. If goods goes among branch office, if goods goes from HO to branch, then is it liable for GST? Yes. How to determine value of supply? You can determine whatever as value of supply. You can put whatever number as value of supply. We will not bother as long as the respective recipient, when HO bills to branch 1 should be eligible to take credit. When branch 1 bills to branch 4 will be eligible to take credit. When branch 4 bills to branch 8 would be eligible to take credit. As long as everybody is eligible to take credit, whatever be the invoice amount you charge, that would be accepted as value of supply. Getting into a crucial discussion in case of Rule 29. This rule is applicable only when goods or services is supplied by an agent. If you carefully note, previous rule will exclude all those services supplied by an agent. Or previous entry will specifically exclude that this valuation rules is not applicable for agent. Specifically, it will say it is not applicable for agent. Why? Because you have an exclusive rule called as Rule 29. As far as Rule 29 is concerned, as far as Rule 29 is concerned, value of supply of goods or services will be, as usual, open market value of that goods. Open market value of that goods or 90% of price charged for supply of goods of like kind and quality, of course, at the option of supplier. See, I am a principal. I supply goods to my agent. I am a principal. I supply goods to my agent. When as a principal, I supply goods to my agent, my goods goes to the agent. Now, my agent will be A Limited, I will be B Limited. Because my agent has signed some agency agreement with me, he is my agent. Now, very interesting to note here is, the principal can supply the goods to an agent always at open market value. Normally, I sell the goods here at 100 rupees. Then I will also sell to my agent at 100 rupees. To an agent, I cannot sell less than my market value, open market value. Normally, a particular product I sell at 350 rupees. To my agent also, I'll sell at 350 rupees. Sometimes what happens is, open market value is not available, or it is bored for an organization to pick open market value. What they say is, if open market value is not available, then what can be accepted as how to determine your value of supply, for which this particular section, or sorry, this particular rule comes out and says 90% of price charged for the supply of goods of like kind and quality. What is the like kind and quality of goods is done? We will check that into 90%. For example, like their goods, like their services, somebody else provided the services, somebody else provided the goods for 10,000 rupees, then 10,000 into 90%, that will be there. See, this is only at the option of supplier. Supplier can always sell. See, I am selling my mission to a third party for 9,500. Though you are an agent, I will sell only at 9,500. Matter instead. Or if they check that fellow is selling for 7,500 only, so 7,500 into 90%, or to put in a different way, 7,500 minus 750, 6,250 will be the value of supply. Of whom? At the option of supplier. Followed by, sir, I don't have open market value. I don't have like kind and quality. don't be bothered about it. Value will be determined as per rule 30 and 31. Now coming back here, if you carefully note, if a person failed to satisfy condition 1, what was condition 1? Buyer and seller should not be related. If a person if a person failed to satisfy condition 1, then you have your rule 28 applicable for all the cases, rule 29 applicable for agent cases to determine value of supply. If in case a person failed to satisfy condition 2, then condition 2 was price should be the sole consideration. Money alone should be the only consideration. If a person failed to satisfy second condition, then value of supply will be determined as per rule 27. So 27 is applicable for condition 2, 28 and 29 is applicable for condition 1. Moving forward, rule 30. When I will go to rule 30, sir, if rule 27, rule 28 and rule 29, all three rule fails. If rule 27, rule 28 and rule 29, if all these three rules fails, then value will be determined as per rule 30. I don't have open market value. I don't have like, kind and quality. I don't have the value for my service. How to determine value for my service? Don't be much bothered about it. We have some costing principles. Based on costing principle, if you arrive your cost of production, in case if you are manufacturing, cost of service in case you are service providing, cost of acquisition in case of trading, the moment you arrive all the cost, that cost plus 10%. Cost plus 10% or 110% of cost of production. If you want to make addition, cost plus 10% is value of supply. If you want to make a multiplication, cost into 110% is equal to your value of supply. What you want me to do, you highlight it. But the point here is rule 30, when it will be applicable. When all these three conditions fails, when value cannot be determined from rule 27, rule 28 and rule 29, this value will be determined. Followed by, sir, if costing data also not available, I can't able to determine cost also, it is hanging there. Don't be bothered. GST officer will determine. Residual method means value will be determined as per GST officer. Sir, I am the businessman. If I itself cannot able to determine, how GST officer can determine? See, really GST officer cannot determine, but GST officer somehow have to do the assessment. They will follow the same principles. Wherever it is not possible, they'll come up with some deviation. You and me cannot do the deviations because it is done as per the proper officer power. It is they can do with some deviations. But my intention here is, if value cannot be determined as per rule 27 to 30, if value cannot be determined as per 27 to 30, 27 talked about when consideration is not received wholly in money. 28 and 29 talked about where consideration is received. 27 and 28 talked about where all those supply of services is done for a related person or a distinct person. Followed by 30 will be applicable if all the two rules fails or all the three rules fails, then only rule 30 will be applicable. Rule 31 will be applicable if all fold rule fails and value cannot be determined as per the valuation. If all four rule fails, then only you can use last resort residual method, where value will be determined by officer. Officer will do some workings and then say this is your value, that will be accepted as value. This sums up your valuation discussion starting from rule 27 ending with rule 31. Yes, any doubts, anything? Yes, I would take it up before me getting into other discussions on this topic. Yes, Jacob.
Sir, கேக்குதா சார்?
கேக்குதுமா.
சார், இப்போ ரிலேட்டட் பர்சனுக்கு வந்து சப்போஸ் வந்து ரெசிபியன்ட் வந்து சப்ளையருக்கு வந்து கன்சிடரேஷன் வந்து பார்ட்லி பை கேஷும் ஆர் அதர் கைண்ட்ஸும் இருந்தா அது எந்த ரூல் சார் வரும்?
Partly by cash, partly by
அண்ட்
kind.
பார்ட்லி பை கேஷ் அண்ட்
Partly by
பார்ட்லி
cash,
பை
partly by kind.
அப்போ அது எந்த
எந்த
ரூல்ல சார்?
கண்டிஷன் வயலேட் பண்றாங்க? ஏன் செக்ஷன் 15 படி வேல்யூ அக்செப்ட் ஆகுமா ஆகாதா?
இல்ல ஆகாது. ஏன்னா ரிலேட்டட் பர்சனுக்கு அந்த கண்டிஷன் வயலேட் ஆகுது சார்.
இல்ல
அப்புறம்
ஒரு நிமிஷம். இப்ப பையர் செல்லர் ரெண்டு பேர் இருக்காங்களா?
ரெண்டுமே ரிலேட்டட் பர்சன்.
ரெண்டு பேருமே ரிலேட்டட் பார்ட்டி. ஓகே, அக்ரீட். அதுக்கப்புறம்
வந்து கன்சிடரேஷன் வந்து கொஞ்சம் காசாவும் கொஞ்சம் அதர் கைண்டாவும் கொடுக்குறாங்க.
இப்போ ரிலேட்டட் பார்ட்டி கொஞ்சம் பார்ட் கன்சிடரேஷன் இன் மணி, பார்ட் கன்சிடரேஷன் இன் கைண்ட், கரெக்டா?
ஆமா சார்.
இப்போ இந்த சிச்சுவேஷன்ல ஃபார் பார்ட் கன்சிடரேஷன் இன் மணி அண்ட் பார்ட் கன்சிடரேஷன் இன் கைண்டுக்கு ரூல் 27 யூஸ் பண்ணுவீங்க. ஓகே. பையர் அண்ட் செல்லர் ரிலேட்டடுக்கு ரூல் 28 யூஸ் பண்ணுவீங்க. ஓகே. ரெண்டுத்தையும் யூஸ் பண்ணி வேல்யூ அரைவ் பண்ணுவீங்க. சரியா?
ஓகே சார்.
சோ ரெண்டு வேல்யூ என்ன சொல்லுதுன்னா ஓபன் மார்க்கெட் வேல்யூன்னு தான் சொல்லும். ஓகே. இன் கேஸ் இல்ல சார் வேற ஆன்சர் வருதுன்னா எது ஹையரா இருக்கோ அதை எடுத்துக்கீங்க.
ஓகே சார்.
ஓகே. So that is how it will be accepted. Done? Yes.
Okay.
I'll come back Lucifer in case of first provision of a related person. If you come back to the first provision of a related person. Head office supply goods to branch office. Branch office in turn sell the goods. Manufacture கிடையாது, process கிடையாது. Branch office sell the goods as such. Sell the goods as such to head office supply the goods to branch office. Branch office just to sell the goods as such to consumer. Now, one problem here is head office will never sell goods to third party at all. Head office has a problem. Head office will make goods. Once they make goods, branch 1 take 10, branch 2 take 10, branch 3 take 10, branch 4 take 10, branch 5 take 10. Next day they will manufacture goods 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Next day they will manufacture goods 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Then what all the branches are doing when you go back and verify? Branches are further selling. Branches are further selling the goods. In that case, law says when the branches are further selling, no, head office transfer the goods to branch office. Branch office further sells the goods. When branch office further sells the goods, then it is treated as sale as such. In case of sale as such, one model is given. If you don't have an open market value, let me repeat, if you don't have an open market value, then what price your branch sells to the customer? Sir, branch sold to the customer for 10,000 rupees. Good. 10,000 into 90%. 9,000 rupees. That 9,000 rupees will be accepted as a value of supply if open market value is not available. If open market value is available, you will stop there. So that is how it has to be understood, Lucifer. Rule 28. Last underline panna point. Can you explain? Last underline panna point. Eligible for full ITC. Okay. Now this time it is different. HO supply goods to branch. Branch is eligible for full ITC. Whatever goods HO supply, branch can take credit. Sir, appo minadi panna discussion, sir, assume in a situation branch cannot take credit. If branch can take credit, 100 rupees I have sold the goods to branch. Branch on 100 rupees purchase போட்டுட்டாங்க, 18 rupees tax credit எடுத்துக்க முடியும்னா, whatever price at which goods sold, it will be accepted as transaction value. Let me repeat it. When branch can take input tax credit. See, whenever you buy goods, the goods that you buy will come with GST. If you are in the business, you will take input tax credit. If you and me go to a grocery shop and buy the goods, we will not take input tax credit. But if I buy for my business purpose or profession purpose one laptop, then when I get a bill from my vendor, I will take input tax credit. Laptop worth 50,000 rupees plus 9,000 rupees GST means for me cost is not 59,000. For me cost is 50,000 only. That 9,000 rupees when I pay GST, I will adjust it. That is called as input tax credit. If you are going to take input tax credit, whatever amount mentioned in the value, 100 rupees or 50,000 rupees, whatever amount mentioned in the value, that would be accepted as transaction value. If branch does not sell further, then what will be the value of supply? If branch does not sell further, value will be determined as per rule 30 or 31. ரொம்ப simple. அதுதான் நான் சொல்லிட்டோம். Done. Can we move forward? Anirudh, you have some point. Yes, Anirudh.
Sir.
Yeah.
Rule 27ல நான் மானிட்டரி கன்சிடரேஷன் வந்து லேண்டா இருந்தா கவர்மெண்ட் லேண்ட் ஆர் பில்டிங்கா இருந்தா கவர்மெண்டோட ஸ்டாம்ப் வேல்யூ எடுக்கணுமா இல்ல அங்க ரியல் எஸ்டேட் அங்க அந்த பிரைஸ் எடுக்கணுமா சார்?
Government order stamp value cannot be considered as value, however, so it's various purposes. Government value will be for the purpose of your government records or guideline value. Ideal is you will take a valuation report. There is somebody called as valuer of a land. He will value and give a land and building. You will rely based on valuer's report.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Done? True. Any doubts here in rule 27, 28, 29 and 30?
Sir,
Yeah.
Sir, in rule 28, நீங்க சொன்னீங்கல்ல சார் ஒரு பாயிண்ட், ஹெட் ஆஃபீஸ் வந்து சப்ளையருக்கு ஹெட் ஆஃபீஸ் வந்து பிரான்ச்சுக்கு சேல் பண்றப்ப அவங்களுக்கு ஓப்பன் மார்க்கெட் வேல்யூ தெரியல அப்படிங்கிறப்போ அவங்களோட இப்போ பிரான்ச் வந்து சேல் பண்றது 10,000னா அதுல 90% எடுத்துக்கணும்னு சொல்றது. அந்த 9,000 வந்து ஹெட் ஆஃபீஸ்க்கு தெரிஞ்சு ஹெட் ஆஃபீஸோட வேல்யூவா அவங்க எடுத்துக்க வேண்டிய வேல்யூ?
ஹெட் ஆஃபீஸ் எடுத்துக்க வேண்டிய வேல்யூ when branch is not eligible for ITC.
ஓகே. பிரான்ச் சப்போஸ் அவங்களுக்கு ஐடிசி எடுத்துக்க முடியும்னா
ஐடிசி எடுத்துக்க முடியும்னா நீங்க இன்வாய்ஸ்ல போடுற பிரைஸ் தான் வேல்யூ.
ஓகே ஓகே சார்.
செகண்ட் ப்ரொவிசோ படிங்க புரிஞ்சிடும்.
ஓகே சார்.
எஸ். Chitra Krishnan, can you come on voice note? Question is a little big.
Sir.
Yeah.
Sir, நான் வந்துட்டு பில்ஸ் பேயபிள் அக்செப்ட் பண்ற சப்ளையரோடது கேஷ் பே பண்ணாம சப்ளையருக்கு அப்படின்னா அது வந்துட்டு பிரைஸ் மட்டுமே கன்சிடரேஷனா எடுத்துக்க முடியுமா, அதை மானிட்டரி கன்சிடரேஷன் எடுத்துக்க முடியுமா, இல்ல அது அதர் தேன் கேஷ் கைண்ட்ல வந்துருமா சார்?
இல்ல பில்ஸ் பேயபிள்னா எனக்கு புரியல, கொஞ்சம்
சப்ளையரோட பில்ஸ்
அதனால தான் நான் இத எடுக்க உங்க வர சொன்னேன். சொல்லுங்க.
சப்ளையரோட பில்ஸ் பேயபிள நான் அக்செப்ட் பண்ணிக்கிறேன்.
Supplier has a bills payable.
Yeah. அத வந்துட்டு அவர் பே பண்ணாம நான் அவரோடது பே பண்றேன்னு சொல்லிட்டேன்.
Then you are in sale of goods or service business, or you are in money lending, financial business.
Goods or service.
See, I'm sorry. You are talking of bills payable, right? Bills payable means what?
Instrument.
எனக்கு அங்க புரியல, அதனால தான் கேக்குறேன் நான் திருப்பியும். See, if a bills payable by a supplier is accepted na எனக்கு அது புரியவே மாட்டேங்குது.
அது சப்ளையர் பே பண்ண வேண்டிய அமௌண்ட், ஆனா ரெசிபியன்ட் பே பண்றோம்.
Okay, supplier is liable to pay that amount, it is paid by recipient. Okay.
அப்ப அது வந்து மானிட்டரி கன்சிடரேஷன், பிரைஸ் இஸ் தி சோல் கன்சிடரேஷன் அப்படினு அத ட்ரீட் பண்ணலாமா?
See, அது பாருங்களா, அது எக்ஸ்ட்ரா மணி, அது இன்க்ளூஷன் போர்ஷன். உங்களுடைய பேஸ் பிரைஸ் என்னாச்சு?
பேஸ் பிரைஸ் பேஸ் பிரைஸ்
ஆ,
ஃபுல்லாவே அப்படி ரீட் பண்ண முடியாது.
இல்லம்மா நல்லா புரிஞ்சுக்கோங்க. You are now asking a question on 15.2. My question is, there will be one base price plus one extra money payable will come.
ஓகே.
There will be one base price, then one extra money will come. When it comes to its base price, how it will be accepted? See, you have a base price for the machine 5 lakhs plus supplier is liable to pay somebody 30,000. You said as a recipient that 30,000 also I will pay. And the 5 lakhs எப்படி settle பண்ணிருக்கீங்க தான் என்னுடைய first கேள்வி. That 5 lakhs is everything is entire consideration is by price. Then 5 lakhs plus 30,000, 5 lakh 30,000 value. No, sir. For that 5 lakhs, there is a money portion and there is a non-monetary consideration also. Means you will come to rule 27.
ஓகே சார். நான் என்ன கேட்டேன்னா 5 lakh
இந்த 30,000 காக வர மாட்டீங்க. You will not come for this 30,000. You will not come for the money payable by the supplier, which is paid by the recipient.
ஓகே சார்.
Okay, that will not trigger. That is a additional information. See, இது மாதிரி வேல்யூ அரைவ் பண்ணிட்டு அந்த வேல்யூல கூட அது ஆட் ஆகும். Okay.
ஓகே சார். Thank you சார்.
Yes. See, your exam question on all this will be something like this. An examiner would come out and say, A Limited, a company which is in the business of manufacturing machine, has sold the machine to D Limited. D Limited has 28% of equity stake on A Limited. A Limited has sold the machine to D Limited for rupees 4,80,000 rupees. However, D Limited has sold to an unrelated buyer, B Limited, for rupees 5 lakhs. Determine value of supply as per section 15 read along with valuation rule. This is your exam question for 4 marks. When you carefully note, question initially starts with A Limited is a manufacturer of machine. It says A Limited and D Limited are related. And having said that, it goes further. A Limited and D Limited are how related? D Limited hold 28% equity stake on A Limited. Now, further to discuss, A Limited has sold the machine for 4,80,000. Whether 4,80,000 will be accepted as transaction value. You will first use section 15 and say, as far as section 15(1) is concerned, supplier and recipient should not be related. However, in the given case, they are related, so transaction value not accepted. However, as per rule 28, the value of supply, when goods are supplied to related person, value will be open market value. Open market value means the price at which goods sold to unrelated buyer. A Limited has sold the goods to B Limited, unrelated buyer, for 5 lakhs. Hence, value of supply for D Limited will not be 4,80,000, it will be 5 lakhs. This is how an exam problem will be. You will refer section 15, you will refer rule 28, write your answer. Yes, Anirudh, back again.
சார், இப்போ சப்ளையர் வந்து பே பண்ண வேண்டிய கேஷ் பதிலா வந்து அவன் கம்பெனியோட ஷேரா தரான் அப்படின்னா, will it be a monetary consideration or non-monetary consideration?
Non-monetary consideration தானே அது. மானிட்டரி கன்சிடரேஷன்னா பைசா தான்ப்பா, டப்பு தான்ப்பா, காசு பணம் துட்டு மணி தான்.
ஓகே சார்.
Hey, come on. But for currency note, if you give anything, all are treated as non-monetary consideration.
Okay, sir.
Sorry for being little casual. The point that I want to drive home is, but for cash, but for your currency note, whatever you pay, all are treated as non-monetary consideration. Okay?
Okay, sir.
So, if you all done with it, we can move forward. Karthik, you have anything?
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir.
Sir,
Yes, ma.
sir, I have a
Nikita.
doubt. In rule number 28,
Hmm.
when the goods are sold to the related party and it is for further sale,
Hmm.
then we have to use that provision only, is it? We cannot use the open market value, that one.
No, Nikita, you can use the open market value also.
Okay, sir.
See, I would. That's what I'm saying. See, this clarity you'll have a little more when you go start understanding input tax credit. If a person claim input tax credit, okay. If if your recipient is eligible for input tax credit, if your recipient is not eligible for input tax credit, you can segregate the transactions into two types. If the recipient is eligible for input tax credit, use the second proviso.
Okay.
If the recipient is not eligible for input tax credit, you have to use the first proviso.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir. No, what is my doubt is, like, we can use the first provision, that is he is not eligible for ITC.
Correct.
But then we are having we have actually sold to somebody else who is not related to us, that is the supplier.
See, here don't speak from we perspective. Cut that
Okay.
we.
Okay.
Who sold?
Supplier sold a product to, say, machinery to B Limited, sir, who is a
Okay.
related party, for 5 lakhs. And B Limited is actually it is intended to further proceed to sales or something. Okay.
Okay.
And he is not eligible for ITC credit.
Okay.
And now we are having and again A Limited is selling to somebody else, like say some other unrelated person for
Okay.
the same machinery at 5,80,000.
Okay.
Then do we use that provision, or do we go to that value of
See,
supply? That
I would recommend you'll go to open market value.
okay, okay,
See, when you don't have open market, see, proviso is to somehow ensure this rule is satisfied. Okay.
okay, sir.
You already have, no, you just a minute before told the head office sells to, sorry, not head office, A Limited sells to B Limited for 5 lakhs. A Limited sells to unrelated person for 5,80,000. Then 5,80,000 is open market value. At that price, it has to be valued.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay. If open market value is not available, then you sold the goods only to what? A related person at 5 lakhs. It stops there.
Okay.
Assume a moment you also don't have like, kind, and quality also.
Okay.
Okay. At your end. But his end, now we will go to see 90% of the price charged on like and quality by the recipient to his customer.
Okay.
Not by A Limited to B Limited. B Limited. B Limited to customer. Can you able to understand the difference?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's all. It's
Thank
not A Limited selling to the recipient. It is B Limited selling to the recipient.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Sampath, yes, ma. You have any question?
சார் இப்போ நம்ம செகண்ட் அந்த சோல் கன்சிடரேஷன் பாக்குறப்போ அவங்களுக்கு எவ்வளவு பேஸ் பே பண்ணிருக்கோம்னு பாக்குறோம்ல சார் ஃபர்ஸ்ட். அதுல வந்து இப்போ நம்ம வந்து ஒரு கம்பெனில இருந்து பர்ச்சேஸ் பண்றேன், நான் 10,000 பர்ச்சேஸ் பண்றேன். பண்ணிட்டு அந்த 10,000க்கு அவங்களுக்கு பே பண்ணாம அவங்க வேற ஒருத்தவங்களுக்கு லைபிள் இருக்காங்க, நான் அவங்களுக்கு பே பண்ணிடுறேன். நான் பர்ச்சேஸ் பண்ண கம்பெனிக்கு பே பண்ணல எதுவும். அவங்க லைபிளா இருக்கிற கம்பெனிக்கு நான் பே பண்ணேன்னா அப்போ அதுல எப்படி சார் பாக்குறேன்?
The entire money paid in consideration only.
So அதுலயும் நம்ம இப்ப entire money
no, you will not come to rule, buddy. You will not come at all to rule.
You will not at all come to rule. Entire money na அது sole consideration. Money kind na
you have some fleets of other than money coming into play. Then only you will use 28 and 29. Done?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Super. Hope there are no doubts anymore. Okay. We will get into the next discussion. Rule 31A. See, 31A is a what is it? New entry came into effect in March 2019. Again, this March it is getting amended. 1 minute. Yeah. How to determine the value of supply in case of lottery, betting, gambling, all this and all. See, as far as lottery is concerned, expect an question here because it came, but very frequently it got amended. As far as value of supply of lottery is based on whether the ticket is allowed to be sold. Let me repeat, whether the ticket is allowed to be sold, or it is a organizing state, or it is a lottery ticket authorized by that state. Let me repeat, whether it is a lottery ticket of the organizing state, or whether it is a lottery ticket which is being authorized by state government. Whether the lottery ticket is authorized by state government, or whether the lottery ticket is can be sold only in that state, which is run by state government. Maybe you can have these two words as the keywords. That lottery ticket which is run by state government means whatever be the face value of the ticket, face value into 100 by 112 will give you value of supply. If it is authorized by state government means face value into 100 by 128 will give you value of supply. Sir, what is the difference between run by state government and authorized by state government? As far as run by state government and authorized by state government, as far as this two is concerned, when it comes to run by state government, it is not allowed to be sold in any state other than that state. It is allowed to be sold in any state. When something is allowed to be sold is in any state, you can sell in Kerala, you can sell in Sikkim, you can sell in Nagaland, you can sell in Maharashtra, the lottery ticket. Then it is a lottery ticket authorized by state government. You can sell only in Kerala. Then it is a lottery ticket run by state government. If it is run by state government, 100 by 112. If it is authorized by state government, it is 100 by 128. Sir, face value of the ticket is 500. So 500 into, it is a state authorized lottery ticket. So 500 into 100 by 128. If you put 500 into 100 by 128, you will get one number. That number will be value of supply. Recently, this got amended. For next exam, all will be liable for 28%. However, for your exam, this exam, June 2020, it is 100 for state-run lottery and state-authorized lottery, 128. However, for the November exam, all are what? 120. That is one big difference that you have when it comes to any actionable claim, any betting, any gambling, how much amount you deposit, how much amount you pay, that entire money will be accepted as your what is it? Value of supply. If somebody bet 500 rupees, entire 500 is value of supply. If somebody bet 800 rupees, entire 800 is value. So somebody bet on horse 1 lakh rupees, entire 1 lakh becomes value of supply. On that 1 lakh, 28% GST has to be paid. Same in the case of lottery and betting gambling also. 12% GST and 28% GST. So this sums up your discussion relating to value of lottery ticket and betting gambling lottery expect in exam. moving forward towards part 2 discussion, a very serious discussion on part 2. As far as part 2 discussion is concerned, 4 businesses. Let me repeat, 4 businesses. Business number 1 is foreign exchange dealer. In case of a foreign exchange dealer, how to determine value of supply. Similarly, in case of a air travel agent, how to determine value of supply. In case of a life insurance business, how to determine value of supply. In case of a person who deal with second hand goods or used goods, in case a person who deals with second hand or used goods, how to determine value of supply. Similarly, in case where a person gives token, coupon, value, voucher, how to determine the value of supply in case of voucher, coupon, tokens and all. So just about specific 5-6 discussion it has been done. Let me repeat it. More importantly, foreign exchange dealer, air travel agent, life insurance, used goods. 4 are the most important businesses. As per section 15 subsection 5, central government has power to determine value of supply in case of specified businesses. Lottery specified business 31A they have. Foreign exchange dealer specified businesses 32 2 subsection A they use. Similarly, 32 2 subsection B is the next rule, followed by in case of air travel agent, again 32 3. 32 4 talks about life insurance business. 32 5 talks about your second hand goods dealer, and 32 6 just to say what is the value of the voucher. That's all. 32 6 is not a method. 32 6 just says what is the value in case of a voucher, or how to determine value for a voucher. That's okay. Coming back here, in case of foreign exchange dealer. Now, as far as foreign exchange dealer business is concerned, let me repeat. One minute. I've just opened an Excel sheet. Is all of you be able to see this Excel sheet?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Everybody can confirm?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay.
Yes, sir.
See, rule 32 to sub rule A, first method, which is very formally, very specifically applicable only to, this method is applicable to foreign exchange dealer. This method is applicable only for foreign exchange dealer. This method is called as RBI reference rate method. The other method is called as formula method. These are all names given by us. Law does not call with this name. RBI reference rate method. What do you mean by RBI reference rate method? What do you mean by RBI reference rate method? Understand, for every currency, RBI comes up with RBI reference rate. RBI has a reference rate. For example, for dollars, RBI comes up with a reference rate that it will buy dollars per dollar for rupees 74 per dollar. That is to say, if RBI is going to buy dollar, or if RBI is going to sell dollar, RBI will buy the dollar for 74 or sell the dollar for 74. Look everything only from foreign exchange dealer perspective. Don't look from anybody else perspective. Look everything only from foreign exchange dealer perspective. Sir, what should I look for here? See, every foreign exchange dealer will have something called as selling rate of foreign exchange. Similarly, every foreign exchange dealer will have something called as buying rate of foreign exchange. Now, a very peculiar question that I'm going to ask all of you. Buying rate of foreign exchange or selling rate of foreign exchange. Buying rate of foreign exchange means at that price, the foreign exchange dealer will buy currency. Selling rate of foreign exchange means at that price, he will sell foreign currency. For example, if you have $100 in your hand, $100 you can't use in India. So what you will do is, you will go to foreign exchange dealer will buy from you. At that time, he will use the buying rate. That buying rate will always be, the buying rate of foreign exchange dealer will always be less than, let me repeat, buying rate of foreign exchange dealer will always be less than your RBI reference rate. And similarly, you are going to now go to foreign country and you have in your hand some 75,000 rupees that is of no use to you, but you want to go to foreign country. Let's say you want to go to US, then you will convert your 75,000 or 76,000 into $1,000 and take that $1,000 in your hand and go. Now the question before us is, always the foreign exchange dealer will sell the foreign currency more than RBI reference rate. When he does like this, when foreign exchange dealer buy the foreign currency less than RBI reference rate, sell the foreign currency more than RBI reference rate, always he will land up with one profit. Now do one thing, copy this number here, paste it over here, again copy this number here, paste it over here. You can able to identify beautifully. Assume he has purchased some 150. Assume he has purchased some $150 of currency units. Assume he has sold some $250. So very simple. The difference between selling rate and your RBI reference rate, it is his margin. That into 250 will be your value of supply. Let me repeat. The difference between selling rate of foreign exchange dealer minus RBI reference rate into number of foreign currency unit, FCU, foreign currency unit, how many units you have, that will become your value of supply. Similarly, the difference between at what price RBI buy and what price this fellow buy into number of foreign currency units will give the value of supply. Now let me repeat it. I have did it just for one transaction to give a small background to you. Now come back to the presentation. A first method which discuss about your rule 32. First method which discuss about in case of your determination of value as per RBI reference rate. RBI reference rate is a reference rate available for highly traded foreign currency. All your major traded foreign currency, you will have RBI reference rate. Now, the difference between RBI reference rate and buying rate, selling rate and RBI reference rate into number of foreign currency units will determine the value of supply. So whenever the transaction happens like this, you can determine value like this. Assume for a moment, if RBI reference rate is not available for one particular currency, RBI reference rate is not available. If for one particular currency, if for one particular currency, RBI reference rate is not available, then how to determine value of supply? Law says definitely you will know either the selling rate of foreign exchange dealer or buying rate of foreign exchange dealer. Definitely yes. Let's say it is a very different currency. It was South African dollar. Okay, something like that. So you have a buying rate, let's say 45, selling rate 45, buying rate of 40. You have a South African dollar, but kindly make a note here, RBI reference rate is not available for South African currency, dollar. RBI reference rate is not available. Can I determine the value of this? Assume for a moment, he had an opportunity to sell 250 currency, sorry, not 250 currency, okay, 250 currency and buy 300 currency. He bought 300 currency from one person, kept with him. Suddenly one more person came and told, I want to go to South Africa, can you sell me? And he wanted 250, he sold this. Now the question before you is, can you determine value of supply? Now, how to determine value of supply? You can determine value of supply like this. The respective section, or sorry, the respective rule says the number of foreign currency units. Number of foreign currency units is 250 units. Number of foreign currency units into selling rate. You will get one number. This is called as gross amount of currency exchange, GACE. You have to remember all these variables. Gross amount of currency exchanged. Then arrive the gross amount of currency exchanged. Gross amount of currency exchanged into 1% will be your value of supply. Your value of supply will be gross amount of currency exchanged into 1%. When I will use all this, you will use all this if RBI reference rate is not available. Let me repeat. You will use all this when RBI reference rate is not available. If RBI reference rate is available, I'm sorry, you can't use all this. So coming back here, 300 into 40, you will get gross amount of currency exchange. The moment you get gross amount of currency exchange, that into 1% would be your value of supply. So when RBI reference rate is available, you will arrive the difference between selling rate and RBI reference rate, buying rate and RBI reference rate. Then you will arrive that multiply with number of currency units and get value of supply. In case if RBI reference rate is not available, then arrive the gross amount of currency exchange, multiply with 1%, you will determine your value of supply. Done. So this sums up at a first level all this. Coming back here, see, when I work on Excel sheet, at that time you can't see presentation. No. Come back here. Can you able to see the presentation?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, huh?
No, sir.
Now,
No, sir.
சார் ஒரு மாதிரியா ஸ்லைடிங்ல இருக்கு.
இப்போ
இல்ல சார்.
Yes, sir.
இப்போ என்ன தெரியுது?
எக்ஸல் ஷீட்.
எக்ஸல் ஷீட். இப்போ
No, sir.
எக்ஸல் தான் சார்.
இல்ல இல்ல எக்ஸல் எடுத்துறேன்.
ஸ்லைடிங்ல இருக்கு சார்.
ஸ்லைடிங்
ரெண்டுக்குமே தான் ஷேர்ல போட்டிருக்கேன். ஒரே ஒரு நிமிஷம்.
ஓகே சார்.
தெரியுது சார்.
see your
தெரியுது சார்.
இதுவா?
ஆமா சார். பிபிடி.
இப்போ
பிபிடி தான் சார் தெரியுது.
பிபிடி தான் தெரியுது. ஓகே. நோ. நோ.
எக்ஸல் சார்.
இது கொஞ்சம் விளையாட்டு காமிக்கணும்ல. இப்போ பிபிடி தெரியுதா?
தெரியல சார்.
இல்ல சார் ஸ்லைடிங்ல இருக்கு.
ஓகே. அப்போ ஒரு நியூ ஷேர் தான் எடுக்கணும். சரி. So now we'll go back to the PPT.
சார் இந்த எக்ஸல் இருக்கிறதா நீங்க பிபிடில சொல்லிருக்கீங்களா சார்?
ஆமாமா PPT தான் சொல்லிருக்கேன். See, the difference between your RBI reference rate, if you see your, I'm sure the PPT is viewable. The viewable, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
See, the difference between your RBI reference rate minus buying rate or selling rate minus RBI reference rate into number of currency unit, you will get your value of supply. So every transaction, you can determine your value of supply like that. Similarly, the difference between if RBI reference rate is not available, if RBI reference rate is not available for a particular currency, then 1% of gross amount of currency exchange will be value of supply. Value of supply will be 1% of gross amount of currency exchange if RBI reference rate is not available. VOS, value of supply, will be 1% of gross amount of currency exchange. What is gross amount of currency exchange? Very simple. If you are buying currency, then buying rate into number of foreign currency unit. If you are selling currency, selling rate into number of foreign currency unit. This is what we tried with the help of Excel sheet. Now, a crucial point is this. Sometimes what happens is you will give dollars and take euro. You will give euro and take pound. You will give pound and take dollars. Possible?
Yes, sir.
On all those circumstances, what are we going to do? I would come up with a number. Somebody has given $100 and taken back 94 euros. So I have a foreign currency $100. I have a foreign currency 94 euro. $100 into RBI reference rate, 94 euro into RBI reference rate. I'll get two amounts, amount 1 and amount 2. Among the two amounts, whichever is less, I will identify that into 1% will be my value of supply. So my value of supply will be if the transaction is going to be between two foreign currency. Let me repeat. If my transaction is going to be foreign currency with INR or INR with foreign currency where RBI reference rate is available, I will use the first limb of the formula. I deal with a foreign currency, but that foreign currency is not available or RBI reference rate for that foreign currency is not available, then I will deal it with the second limb of the formula when RBI reference rate is not available. Now, I deal with two foreign currencies. That is, I gave dollars and collected euro. I gave $100 and collected 94 euros. If this is my situation, then I have to use the third limit where $100 foreign currency 1 into RBI reference rate, 94 euro foreign currency 2 into RBI reference rate. I'll get two amounts. Among the two amounts, whichever is less, among the two amounts, which is going to be less, that amount into 1% will become my value of supply. This is a special method of valuation. A foreign exchange dealer, by using RBI reference rate, has to determine value like this only. He cannot determine value in under any other method. He can determine value only under this method. To come back here, new share. Hope you all see Excel sheet now.
Yes, sir.
We already have the RBI reference rate for dollars. In the same problem, what we will do is, we'll also give for the euro. Now, somebody comes out and says they have, so what is it? A foreign exchange dealer says he has purchased $100. Let's see. He says to you, he has purchased $100 and sold €89. If someone says a person has purchased $100 and sold €89, now how to determine value of supply? What we will do is, first we will take $100 and foreign currency 1, foreign currency 2, 89. $100 into RBI reference rate, 74. Similarly, 89 into RBI reference rate, 84 for that currency. Multiply, arrive both the amount of this two amount, whichever is less. Which is less? This one is less. This into 1%. I'll determine my value of supply. My value of supply is 74. This is amount, this amount. One amount, amount 1, amount 2. That's all. So this is how you have to determine your value of supply. So let me repeat it in nutshell once again. If RBI reference rate is available, then buying rate minus RBI reference rate. Selling rate minus RBI reference rate will determine into number of foreign currency, you'll get your value of supply. Sometimes what happens is RBI reference rate is not available. If RBI reference rate for a particular transaction is not available, then you will have buying rate and selling rate of foreign exchange dealer, buying rate into number of currency, selling rate into number of currency, you'll get one number which is called as gross amount of currency exchange. That into 1% will give you value of supply. Sometimes transaction happen between two different foreign currency. When transaction happens between two different foreign currency, how to determine your value of supply? For which the formula that we have is, you will mention both the foreign currency, we will multiply both the foreign currency with the reference rate, the one which has the lowest value, that lowest value into 1% will become value of supply. This is how your value of supply needs to be determined. I'll do one thing. I'll ask some questions. You are all going to answer it now quickly. Before that, any doubts? Yes, I will take it up.
சரி சார் ராஜேஷ்
Yes.
சரி இப்போ
Yes,
இந்த
ma.
தேர்ட் கேஸ்ல ஆர்பிஐ ரெஃபரன்ஸ் ரேட் இல்ல அப்படின்னா எக்ஸ்சேஞ்ச் ஆஃப் ஃபாரின் கரன்சிஸ் வித்வுட் ஆர்பிஐ ரேட் ரெஃபரன்ஸ் அப்படிங்கிறது.
Okay. Rajesh and Krish has almost same question. Krish also comes up with the same point. Sir, if RBI reference rate is not available, good. We have did a problem with RBI reference rate. Assume for a moment, if RBI reference rate is not available for a particular currency. Just a minute, allow me to copy it. Now, one small change I am making. Instead of euro, sorry. Arreda, tapu banta. Now, see, this time it is little different. Our fellow purchased $100. Foreign exchange dealer purchased $100 and sold South African dollar 200. This was some of the question raised by two gentlemen. See, here some changes will come. It is $100. Let me repeat. $100 was your purchase. For $100, I have what? Exchange rate, all that I will determine. But the point here is, when it comes to my 250 South African dollar, 200 South African dollar, what I have is nothing. So what I can do is, I'll ask a next question. Foreign exchange dealer buys South African dollar or sells South African dollar? Krishan, Rajesh, can you answer?
Sales.
Foreign exchange dealer buy South African dollar or sell South African dollar?
Sales.
South African dollar RBI reference rate is not available. We are talking of an exclusive situation. As has been rightly told, foreign exchange dealer sell South African dollar. So what we will do is 200 into 45. You'll get what? 9,000. Among the two number, whichever is less into 1% will be value of supply. The end line discussion is, if RBI reference rate is not available, you will use the buying rate or selling rate of foreign exchange dealer. If RBI reference rate is not available, let me repeat, you will use buying rate or selling rate of foreign exchange dealer. Can we move forward?
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So we'll do one thing. I'll dictate a problem. You all make a note of it. Possible for to be noted somewhere?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
முடியாதுன்னு சொன்னீங்கன்னா ஒண்ணும் பண்ண முடியாது. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So point here is, I'll dictate a problem. You all make a note of it. Try to close it. Okay.
Sir, கொஞ்சம் ஸ்லோவா போங்க சார்.
ஸ்லோவா போணுமா? ஏற்கனவே ரொம்ப ஸ்லோவா போறோம்ப்பா.
சார் ப்ராப்ளம் மட்டும் கொஞ்சம் ஸ்லோவா சொல்லுங்க சார்.
ப்ராப்ளம் மட்டுமா? சொல்லிட்டா போச்சு. Prithvi Forex Limited, a company which is engaged in buying and selling of foreign currency. Prithvi Forex Limited is a company engaged in buying and selling of foreign currency. during the month, it has purchased the following foreign currency. It has purchased the following foreign currency. $1,000 was purchased for rupees 74 per dollar. $1,000 was purchased for rupees 74 per dollar.
So can you please go slow and repeat again?
Can I go slow and repeat again? Screen la theriyalaya potential Prithvi Forex. See, if I dictate the problem, I will not have control on the number. Okay, so I'm trying to capture the essence of the problem in the screen. Prithvi Forex Limited is a foreign exchange dealer engaged in the business of buying and selling of foreign currency. During the month, following foreign currencies are purchased. So you can say foreign currencies purchased during the month. Below that, italic 1, italic 2, italic 3. You can have like that. $1,000 purchased for rupees 74 per dollar. $1,000 purchased for rupees 74 per dollar. 800 euro purchased for rupees 84 per dollar. $1,250 South African dollars was purchased for rupees 45 per South African dollar. This is your crux of your first part of the discussion. During the month, following foreign currencies purchased. B, sale of foreign currency